The views expressed on the Nova Society are those of the panelists and guests and do not necessarily reflect the views or opinions of the Phoenix Research Institute or any institution which any panel member is associated.
Welcome back to the Nova Society. I'm your host, Dr. Brooklyn Ann Weldon, and I'm here with my panel, Dr. Mark Bound and Dr. Scott Gershwer. Today we will be answering listener emails, and we have a question from Trudy, who lives in Boulder, Colorado. Trudy asks, it looks like the government will reopen shortly. This might mean that many issues that the Republicans were able to sidestep may now come up for a vote. First, Johnson will need to swear in the new representative from Arizona, Adelita Grijalva, and also the release of the Epstein files might now become a reality. So do you guys think that the reopening of the government might have a negative impact on Trump? Is the Democrats giving in something he was counting on not happening? That's excellent. Excellent questions, Trudy. Mark, Scott, what do you think? Unwanted consequences for Trump that he cannot avoid? Or will he squish it somehow?
Yeah, I mean, I guess the first thing that comes to mind, of course, is the Epstein files and more evidence that Epstein and Trump were really close. Just this morning, the Epstein estate released a bunch of emails, at least 3 of which seemed to indicate that Trump knew exactly what was going on with Epstein and Maxwell, and it doesn't exactly put him in with them, but he knew what was happening. And the Republicans also released some stuff out today. So I suppose they're trying to get out in front of it. Whether that's going to hurt Trump or not is a little hard to say, because I think on the one hand, you've got people like Massey of Tennessee or Kentucky, who, wanted this information released. Trump had promised to release it. He's kind of one of these QAnon types that thought that Trump was protecting America from pedophiles. And now I think he's shocked to find out that Trump may be at least enabling a pedophile, if not actively encouraging him, spending hours at Epstein's house with one of Epstein's victims, etc. There's a lot of smoke. I'm not really sure that there's a fire there. And of course, the other side of the Republicans are people who will support him no matter what, even if he shoots somebody in Fifth Avenue. I would say even if he has sex with an underage girl in the middle of Fifth Avenue, they would continue to support him. So that's not going to have any effect on that segment of our electorate at all. The other things, he seems to be impervious to criticism for people on the right who would ordinarily oppose any reduction in SNAP benefits or any reductions in, farmers getting subsidies or, a whole host of economic initiatives that they rely on that Trump wants to cut. And I don't see him paying any price for that. I may be wrong, but you see, this is kind of odd that they continue to blame Joe Biden for the problems that they've not only have happened on their watch, but that they've literally caused to happen. And somehow or another, they just send people out and go, well, we're still dealing with the leftover of Biden. I mean, that's crazy talk. And they seem to get away with it.
Yeah. There does seem to be, and while we were in the middle of the recording, breaking news alert was that the Trump administration are planning to meet Wednesday about the effort in the U.S. House to force a vote on releasing the Justice Department case files relating to Jeffrey Epstein. That's being reported by CNN as we're recording. And the meeting would include, according to CNN, Attorney General Pam Bondi, Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche, FBI Director Kash Patel, and Republican Lauren Boebert of Colorado, who has wanted the Justice Department to release their trove of Epstein files and has signed onto the effort. So, you talk about
Mark, before you go, before you go on
Sure.
to the substantive stuff, I just want to make a comment about Lauren Boebert, if you don't mind.
Oh, please.
Who, as you know, I find extremely attractive in so many. She is so kinky. She went to Halloween dressed as a Mexican with like a sombrero and everything, and her boyfriend was dressed as an ICE agent. I mean, that's like Mandingo slave mistress stuff, like it is so 1800s kinky that it brought up to the modern day that in this game we're going to play, I'm a poor Mexican woman, who's just trying to make a living, and you're an evil ICE officer and you're going to arrest me. Man, that kind of kink, you really just got to love her for that. It's tasteless and it's tacky. Yes, I get it,
horrible.
But at the same time, it's so hot. Right, why don't you go on with your real point?
Oh my God. So, wow. Yeah, sometimes we digress. Now that you've done that, you've totally, the train has left the station as far as I'm concerned. But no,
you could stay on this train of thought. I mean, because think about some other costumes that Lauren Boebert can wear. She could be like a bad student, and her boyfriend could be the professor. And that would be kind of kinky. And there's all kinds of games that she could play. She's the deportee in a prison in South Sudan, and he's the prison guard, that kind of thing.
There's all sorts of
it's
scenarios.
Endlessly kinky.
Yes. And to the good voters of Colorado, you voted for it. But to reality though, this shows that they're getting the wagons together. And they're going to talk to Miss Boebert. Maybe somebody's bringing handcuffs. I don't know, to go to Scott's point to the whole thing. I don't know. I'm not making any kind of no predictions onto that. But the fact is that we have to. This tells me something, that they are very concerned about this. And usually, where there's smoke, there's fire. If this was nothing, why bring this group together to the White House to discuss it? If I know that I have nothing to hide whatsoever, I'd ignore this. This is almost like that, put up the red flag that, hey, somebody's been involved in something they're not supposed to be. The one thing I could say is, going back again to Scott's point about Lauren Boebert, unless she's into that kind of thing, Lauren Boebert, isn't in the Epstein files, because she would have been so big to release them. So I don't know. I mean, I look at this. I look at this.
The curious one isn't Boebert though, Mark. It's Nancy Mace. I mean, a big part of Nancy Mace's story, and you probably know this better than I do because she's going to be your governor.
Close.
Is a big part of her story is that she was raped, and yes. The White House is reaching out to her, and there was a rumor running around yesterday that she who's one of the 218. That she's going to pull out of the 218. And so this Democrat from Arizona being sworn in today doesn't matter because Nancy Mace is going to pull out and they don't have the vote to do the discharge petition. Now, I haven't seen any kind of confirmation on that. I haven't seen it in a respectable news source. I've only seen it on social media. But if she were to do that, I mean, she's protecting the pedophiles. She's protecting the child rapists. Boy, is that a mark on her entire life story and what her political career seems to have redounded to, which is that she's this kind of victim. Crazy.
Yeah, it does. And I'll be honest with you, Scott. Here in South Carolina, even the most staunch Republicans can't figure it out. I sit with my friends, over an adult beverage who are staunch Republicans, and they really cannot figure out this Nancy Mace thing. What made her, go off on this deep end, I guess, would be the best way for me to describe it. And yeah, she won't be the governor of South Carolina. I can guarantee you that.
No, but I'll tell you why she went off the deep end. She got gerrymandered. She's safe. Her district is safe. The courts in South Carolina upheld the gerrymandering of her district, and she can no longer lose to a Democrat.
Well, what I'm saying to you is that you may be right. She can't lose to a Democrat, but I don't think she's as safe as you think she is, because there's a lot of concern with her activities with the South Carolina Republican Party. They're extremely concerned. I wouldn't be surprised if they primary her. That would not come as a huge shock to me. And the fact is they probably, just from the political strategy of all this, they probably want her to run for governor because they know she's not going to win it. And if she's running for governor, they have a better chance to primary her in the Congress and get her just completely out of the public eye altogether. Like I said, this is a staunch conservative Republican state. But even that gerrymandered district down there, there's talk. I mean, there's talk in the Republican Party that Nancy Mace is like this out there whatever, and they're finding it to be a little too much of a distraction. Sometimes we look at Marjorie Taylor Greene and some of the wacky antics she does, and yeah, okay, it's just wacky antics. This is a woman that accused the South Carolina Attorney General of misconduct. This is a woman that here in South Carolina has made a lot of derogatory statements about people in power in the Republican Party in South Carolina. She has accused this ex-boyfriend of hers and the people that she's accused of what's going on, the rape or whatever is being accused of which they have not found any credible evidence whatsoever. In a state, he's a big fish in a small pond. So there's a lot of real concern here that there's people saying that she needs to have an intervention. There's people saying that she needs mental health help. And that's in the Republican base of South Carolina. So
that was my question. Was whether she might be mentally ill or something.
Nobody knows. Nobody knows. And, it's not like they'll follow Trump to the ends of the earth. And a lot of them here would, no matter what. You're right. He could, shoot somebody in the middle of Fifth Avenue and they'll still stick with him. Nancy Mace is a little bit of a different dynamic. And that little bit of a different dynamic is that this is even way out there for South Carolinians. And let's remember, down here in South Carolina, somebody's going to die when somebody says, hey, y'all, watch this. Somebody's going to get hurt or die. But this is her actions, and that press conference she held the other day. The commentary just here in the state, forget the nation. Just here in the state, it ain't good. It really is not good. And, when I have a friend of mine who hopefully will be running for solicitor here in our county in 2028, and he's a trumpet right down the line, but he's a friend, and I think as a solicitor he'll be fine. What he says, she's lost her damn mind. that tells me that, there's a lot going on down here, interstate politics. And it's like you used to say about Brooklyn, Scott. There's that inner group of, people that control the politics of Brooklyn. Well, same thing as in South Carolina. It's the same dynamic. And when those people start saying she's batshit crazy, or there ain't something right about her, and we're getting unwanted attention, now that's to me, that's what hurt Trey Gowdy. That hearing that he had, back when he was in the Congress, when he was the chairman of the committee that had the hearing, that didn't go well here because it looked like a sham. And South Carolina can be a very proud state. I actually am, in a way, very proud of the state that I live in, because they're proud people, and they don't like the idea of being set up as, well, you're just a bunch of dumb hicks. They don't like it. And
Trey Gowdy is from South Carolina. I'm not sure that I remember that, but Trey Gowdy. Trey Gowdy. Now here's fun fact. Hicks.
Trey Gowdy was the solicitor of the county I live in.
Oh, okay.
Before he went into Congress. And Trey Gowdy, when the sheriff of Spartanburg County, where I live, they just removed him a little while ago. He had federal charges of drug trafficking and all sorts of stuff. He's a drug addict or whatever. His lawyer, Trey Gowdy. So, yeah, former solicitor of the county of Spartanburg. So, yeah, I mean, it's kind of there's like just this group that you've got. It's like when Strom Thurmond, I always told you, Strom Thurmond, when he was dead, they would have elected him if they put him on the damn ballot. There's this group that controls it here, and that's perfectly fine. No different than Brooklyn in a lot of ways. But when they start complaining, and when they start saying, whoa, wait a minute, that's a little strange for us, I think it spells bad news for Lauren Boebert. So we'll see. But
now, what does your Republican friend say about Trump and Epstein?
You mean
Nothing.
Nancy Mace, not Lauren Boebert?
No. Yeah. Scott's now got Lauren Boebert on my mind. But nothing. Trump and Epstein, nothing.
I mean, he realizes that when Trump was like 45 years old, he had a friend who was a well-known pedophile and loves young women, and he went out and he got himself a teenage beauty pageant. Like that's just not something that you do unless you want to play that game.
I for you and me, I totally agree with it. I would say that his comment to that, and that's something that just never comes up because it hasn't been released. It's all speculation. It's
right, of course.
All right.
He doesn't
let's say
believe
this.
in circumstantial evidence.
Yeah.
He would need to see Trump humping a teenage girl in the middle of
guess.
Avenue. I'm assuming. And then
maybe, maybe that was, maybe that. No. I will say this. He, believe it or not, is one of the reasonable ones. Now, I don't agree with his attitude, like during COVID. This idea of wearing a mask, I'm not wearing a mask, that whole thing. But he at least believed COVID existed. He knew it existed. Where the really crazy ones, that it's just all hoax. He knew not to inject himself with bleach. He understands. He's got that, but he is again. He's. I respect the fact that he has the views that he has, but he isn't one of those that. Yeah, all right. If Trump shot somebody in the middle of Fifth Avenue, that would be okay with me. He doesn't go quite that far. I know he wouldn't. And he listens to this quite often. Hopefully he wouldn't go that far. And if he does, me and him are going to have a discussion down at the local watering hole as to maybe changing his attitude toward it. But yeah, we don't talk about it. Now, was this something that maybe hurt Trump? The fact that this could happen, as Scott says, They still may not have the votes. But I think what's interesting about this is that Democrat from Arizona has stated publicly that when she's sworn in, she's going to confront the Speaker of the House right then and there, publicly. And so maybe Scott, maybe he does have the most punchable face on the face of the earth. Maybe she'll do it.
Well, again, it doesn't matter if Trump gets to Boebert or Mace and takes them away from the discharge petition crew, then he can, just smugly say, welcome aboard. There's the back bench over there. Go sit at it because we don't really need to hear from you again. Her one contribution was going to be that she's this deciding vote. And if Trump is successful in getting Nancy Mace or Lauren Boebert to drop out of the coalition that's against him on this, and that could get the evidence that they will protect the pedophiles, then he's free and clear, and he can just go about his normal inept, incompetent House speakership, not getting anything done.
And let's remember, we're saying that it was only one vote. This was before the shutdown, and this was decided 2 months ago. And there's a lot of Republicans that when Boebert said, "Yeah, okay, I'm going to get behind this being released," there were some Republican votes there to release this. That's how they got to 218. Which gave a lot of Republicans who may want to have this thing released cover. They could toe the party line and just stay on the Trump side and let those two, or three, vote to have it, and they could claim, "Hey, I voted for my boy Trump, and that's the way it is." If they're gone, now let's see who steps up, who's willing to step up. So the real tail of the tape will be when the vote is taken. And if you've got a Republican or a Democrat, if you've got any congressman that votes against releasing these files, pay close attention to who they are.
Oh, absolutely. But here, there are only 4 House Republicans that are going along with it.
Right.
That are going along with every Democrat to do this.
I understand that.
It's Massey from Kentucky, right. Taylor Greene from Georgia, Mace, right. and Boebert. Those are the 4. Now, and she has said that every associate of Jeffrey Epstein deserves to be punished to the fullest extent of the law. Every associate of Jeffrey Epstein deserves to be punished to the fullest extent of the law. There should be no safe haven for them. Well, she's going to provide, or Mace will provide a safe haven for one of them, if not all of them.
Once again, what I say is that there may be other Republicans other than those 4 that felt, yes, I want the files released. Mm. But because they had the cover of those 4, they didn't have to say that.
Gotcha.
They were able to keep quiet. You lose 1 or 2 of them, who knows? One of those Republicans that said, "Yeah, I really think this, but I've got cover, so I don't have to let my actual opinion to be known." Who knows? They may come out and say, "Yeah, I'm changing my vote." So, you got to wait. I know. Maybe that's me being optimistic.
Yeah, I don't know. It's like optimism. It's like it's pie in the sky. It's like no, it's not going to happen.
I just think
it would be Clay Higgins. That he's the one who'll do it, or could do Mike Lawler. None of them are going to do it. They're all hide. They're all going to be there hide. And look, you have to say this, and this is the truth. If they don't, like, all the circumstantial evidence is there, right? I mean, even the emails today are basically just providing circumstantial evidence that he knew what was going on with Epstein and he did nothing about it. He, at the very least, it's an act of omission rather than committing a crime. He just allowed one to happen. And, he's not going to prison for that. He probably won't be impeached for that, but at least the hood is off and people can see him for who he is. and finally, take the veil off and see that how horrible a person Trump is. And maybe that chips away at some of the power that he has over them, because these are all people with huge egos, right? Politicians just as well as I do. To run for office, you have to have a serious ego, and for them to, for them to be under Trump's thumb, even Trump can't be a comfortable thing for them. And they allow it to happen because he scares the shit out of them. But if you begin to take him down a few notches, maybe he doesn't scare the shit out of them that much anymore. And maybe you get some rebellion, but I don't see it happening. I don't see it. It's this 4 or it's nobody. And it looks like it's not going to be this 4.
And Scott, you could be totally right. I'm not going to, you could be completely on point with this. My comment is we have to wait and see. Until the vote is taken, who would have thought that John McCain was going to walk in that last Senate hearing they walked into and put thumbs down? I didn't expect that. I don't think anybody did. I think that shocked everybody. You'd never know until the push comes to shove when you got to push that button and say which way you're going to vote. So, maybe somebody else will have one of those John McCain moments where they say, you know what? Screw it. I know especially those now, after we had what happened on Tuesday, where you're going to have somebody saying, you know what? I don't think I can win my seat. This blue wave, I mean, my seat is no longer safe. I don't think I can win my seat, period. I got nothing to lose. Screw it. You might have that.
And how many of them are there? Like 20 maybe? In the entire house, both sides of the aisle, there's right. Maybe 20 seats that could go either way. The rest of them are gerrymandered to within inches of their lives.
Correct. But like I say, it's a possibility. All right, Brooke.
Very interesting. Yeah, it's a very interesting question. Thank you, Trudy. We will see when the vote is taken, then we'll know. So thank you for listening and spending some time with us on the Nova Society. If you're not yet subscribed on the platform of your choice, please do so. Subscribing is free, and we do look forward to seeing you next time on the Nova Society.
The Nova Society is a production of Nova Society Media, a division of the Phoenix Research Institute. We'd like to thank our production partners, Buzzsprout, who hosts the Nova Society, Audacity, our editing partners, Apple iTunes, the largest source of podcasts and music on the internet, Spotify, the most popular platform for the Nova Society, and iHeartRadio, your source for all things music and podcasting. The Nova Society is available on all of these and other quality platforms listed in our description. We'd also like to thank all of our listeners. Without your support, the Nova Society would not be possible. If you have a question or comment, we can be reached at nova.society.podcast@gmail.com. So for Dr. Brooklyn Ann Weldon, Dr. Scott Gershwer, and all of our production partners here at the Nova Society, I'm Dr. Mark Bound. Remember, the true power in society is knowledge. Thanks for listening, and we will see you again next time. We'd like to thank our sponsor for this episode, the Phoenix Research Group, an independent research consortium offering social-political issue solutions to NGOs and international government agencies through multidisciplinary, nonpartisan, and unbiased research. The Phoenix Research Group is a division of the Phoenix Research Institute, the producer of the Nova Society podcast.